Hi, I'm Swapna from TheHealthSite.com, and I'm going to be talking to Niti Desai, who is a nutritionist and who has been practicing in Mumbai for over 15 years. Niti, tell us something about what is it that we're doing wrong these days when it comes to eating food that makes us strong.
Yes, as you said, we've always been told that from the childhood days that we should be drinking a glass of milk and we should be fine. But maybe that is not enough because the body needs a lot more calcium. Our requirements are higher. So in fact, only if we have say around 2 to 3 servings of dairy in terms of milk or dahi or paneer, will we be fine. Of course, there are other alternative sources of calcium which keeps our bones strong. Things like nachni or ragi chapatis, pulses, all the dals, the traditional dals that has been part of our Indian diet, green leafy vegetables. So unless we make sure that all these food groups are there in our as part of our daily diet plan, we are definitely running short of our calcium intake.
And what about those who turn vegan? They don't even have milk. So what is it that we should do in that case?
Yes, so we are increasingly seeing in the practice that a lot of people are avoiding milk for various reasons. And then it becomes a very tricky situation. Your calcium intake is going to be very, very low if you're going to be avoiding dairy. In that case, we'll have to make sure that you do nachni chapatis, say both the meal times, you have green leafy vegetables, and you make sure that there is a katori of dal or pulse at both the meal times again. Till, again, extremely rich in calcium. Jaggery has some amount of calcium. There are certain seeds and nuts like almonds, pistachios, and halim seeds, or what we call garden cress seeds. These are also rich calcium sources. So we'll have to make sure there will have to be some planning involved, and we'll have to make sure that we do include these foods to overcome the deficiency because of the absence of dairy.
So how much quantity of these foods is one supposed to eat? Do you think that people eat enough of these foods every day?
Especially if you're going to be avoiding dairy, ideally you need to sit with a professional, you need to sit with a nutritionist and get your diet planned. Otherwise you really run the risk of cutting down on your calcium intake. And in fact, if you're going to turn vegan, then there is a risk of even going low on your protein intake. So you definitely need some help, maybe from a website, maybe from a professional, and plan it out.
Doctor, what about non-vegetarians? A lot of people believe that a non-vegetarian diet has more calcium in it. Is that true?
Not really. If you are going to be avoiding dairy, or you don't like milk per se or dairy products, and if you think that because you are a non-vegetarian you will be able to meet up your calcium requirements, not really, because it's only the small fish with bones like sardines which will give you calcium. Otherwise, the other food products don't have much calcium, non-vegetarian foods. The other important component is vitamin D, which non-vegetarians stand at an advantage because vitamin D is only found in animal products. It is not there in plant products. So egg yolks, oily fish such as rawas or salmon, chicken liver, these are good sources of vitamin D, which is kind of completely absent in vegetarian foods.
And vitamin D is needed to absorb calcium. So what is it? We know that vitamin D is made through sunlight, and India is a tropical country. So why is it that we are still lacking in vitamin D and not able to absorb calcium?
Yes, so that is a huge problem which I think most of us are aware of. If we check the vitamin D levels in most of especially the urban population, the levels are low, and perhaps the sunlight is not working for various reasons, because of pollution, because of increased UV rays. So vitamin D, you try to catch up with your calcium requirements, but don't look at your vitamin D. It's not going to work. Everything has to be in tandem. And in fact, even the protein intake is important. Again, most of the Indians are vegetarians and our protein intake is on the lower side. So we also need to make sure that our protein intake is adequate. Of course, excessive protein intake is known to leach out calcium. It's detrimental for your calcium metabolism. But then that is only a worry for the gym going population. Okay. Adolescents or young men who are pumping up and are taking excessive protein need to be worried because that affects calcium metabolism adversely.
Okay. And what about other foods that rob your body of calcium? Maybe excessive salt and things like that. Is there anything that you need to avoid or watch out for?
Yes, so in fact, there are certain foods, especially the aerated drinks, because they have a lot of phosphates as part of their concoction or preservatives. Excessive phosphate is known to leach out calcium from your bones.
Okay.
So again, there are a lot of girls, ladies who drink aerated drinks, take a lot of diet drinks to kind of watch their weight. Now they are doing a lot of disservice to their bones as well. Similarly, excessive caffeine intake, smoking, excessive alcohol, all these foods are known to kind of affect the calcium absorption. One more piece of information, a lot of us want to pop in the supplements together. So we'll take a calcium supplement, we'll take an iron supplement together. You don't need to do that because calcium and iron absorption cannot be had at the same time. So if you're taking an iron supplement, make sure you take it at a different time from your calcium supplement.
Okay, okay. And when it comes to women, is there anything that adolescent girls and pregnant women and menopausal women need to do differently? Or does their requirement for calcium increase during this time for a specific reason? What can they do to address that need?
Yes, so I think that's a very good question. In fact, at all these three stages, pregnancy, menopause and adolescence are the times when the calcium requirements are actually at the highest. The interesting thing is that most of us know that we need to start taking calcium when you are menopausal. I mean, that awareness is there. But the fact of the matter is that the calcium is packed maximally in your bones, in your body till the age of 25. Okay. So the adolescent girls, which are again very often having very restricted diets because they are watching their weight, they want to get into fancy clothes. So there the calcium intake really suffers, and it's this population which needs to be encouraged to increase their calcium intake so that the risk of osteoporosis later in life is lowered. Okay. So adolescence is the time when they should really be looking at their calcium intake.
Okay.
Pregnancy, generally supplements are given and the would-be mothers are very compliant, so that's not a time. They are ready to drink even 3 cups, 4 cups of milk in a day, which perhaps they've never had.
Right.
So it is very easy to manage pregnant women, but the adolescent girls are something we need to target. And menopausal women, again, most of them are open to taking calcium supplements, but the absorption of calcium is definitely better through dietary sources. So try to increase your intake through diet, and then for whatever reason, if it's not kind of matching up, then a supplement is a welcome addition.
So you also mentioned vitamin D. So how is it that if your diet doesn't have enough vitamin D, you need supplements in that case, right?
Yes, absolutely. Unfortunately, as I said, in the urban settings, generally everybody needs to take a vitamin D supplement unless you're spending some time, a lot of time outdoors in other parts of the country where the pollution levels are low. Then maybe you might be okay with your vitamin D levels, but otherwise majority of us need to take a vitamin D supplement.
Niti, another big concern that we hear about often on the health site is from mothers who are worried whether their children are getting enough nutrition. Usually they just give them a cup of milk and they add a powder of whatever malted drink that the child likes, and they think they've done their duty. So is that really enough?
Not really. The malted drink unfortunately does not add a lot of nutrition. There is some amount of nutrition there, but then there's also a lot of sugar, so one needs to kind of strike that fine balance. So they need to have some amount of fruit, some amount of vegetables, some amount of dairy, pulses. The important thing is a variety and moderation. If we manage that, having a variety of foods in moderate quantities, then we've achieved the elusive balanced diet, and that is what we should aim for.
So there you have it, and if you have any more questions about calcium or any other nutrition related issue, post it in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Thank you for watching.